It's another video from chapter 12 about multiplying polynomials. So again, please just pause, write problems down, pause it whenever you need, rewind whenever you need to go back and check on things. So the first one I'm going to review is just multiplying a binomial times a binomial. And all we're doing is distributing. The difference is you just have two things in the front here that need to get distributed with both things over here. So first thing I'm going to do is change my subtraction to add the opposite. And I don't know why that color didn't change. Just a second. Let me redo that. So I need red. Add the opposite. Ugh, that looks terrible. Okay. Okay, well, if I can ever get that written. Okay, add the opposite. There we go. So then I'm going to just kind of draw my arrows to help keep track. So I know I want each thing in the first polynomial to be multiplied with each thing in the second. But instead of just doing it randomly, everything here, and I'm going to keep track. So I'm going to take 3y times 4y. And I'm just going to go ahead and write it down here. 3y times 4y. And then I'm going to take 3y times 5. So plus, because these are polynomials, 3y times 5. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this -1. So I changed the sign so I don't mess up. So I know that's -1. So I'm going to take -1 times 4y. So that's plus -1 times 4y plus, and then -1 also has to get multiplied by 5. So I have -1 times 5. And then now all that's left is just to clean all this up, multiply them out, add like terms, and so on. So it's very simple. You just need a method to make sure you keep track that you took each thing in the front times each thing in the second polynomial. So I have 3y times 4y. So 3 times 4 is 12. And y times y is y squared. We should know that one very well by now. Plus 3y times 5 would be 15y. Plus -1 times 4y is just going to make it a -4y. Plus a -1 times 5 is -5. Then I just need to look and see if I have any like terms that can be added, and I do right here in the middle. So my answer will be 12y squared, and then these two are alike, so I'm going to add them together. So 15 plus -4, which would be 11, and then y, because remember y is the label, so 15 plus -4 is just how many of those I have, and then plus -5, and then you're finished. Okay, so let's go to number 2. So on number 2, we need to be really careful to remember that this subtraction right here causes us all kinds of problems. If inside was multiplication, we could raise each thing to the second, but it's not. It's subtraction. So that means we need to actually do squared, and squared means to multiply something, which happens to be 8a minus 3, times itself. So that's what squared means. So you have to tell yourself, we cannot raise these because we can only do that if all that's inside is multiplying and dividing. We have subtraction, so we just need to do this. Now, forget the original problem and just act like this is just like number 1. We're just going to change the subtractions to add the opposite, and then we're just going to do the same thing we just did on number 1. So we're going to take 8a times 8a, so that's going to be 8a times 8a. And then 8a will also need to get multiplied by the -3. So plus 8a times -3. And then I'm just going to switch colors just so it's easy to see. Then I'm going to do negative 3 times each thing inside. So we'll start with, again, polynomial plus, and then we'll do negative 3 times 8a plus, and then we need to do negative 3 times negative 3. And then all that's left is just to do all these multiplications and then any other simplifying. So 8a times 8a would be 64a squared. And then plus 8a times negative 3, that's negative 24a, plus negative 3 times 8a, again, negative 24a, plus negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Then I look to see, do I have any like terms? I don't have any other a squareds, but I do have two terms that both have an a. So we'll combine those. So I have 64a squared plus negative 24a plus negative 24a. That makes negative 48a plus 9. And that's it. So let's do one more multiplying problem. So again, you can certainly pause and write the problem down first. But the only thing that's different here is there's two terms in the first one. This is a binomial. And the second one is a trinomial. It has three terms. But really, there's not anything any different. I'm going to make this add the opposite. And then I'm going to do exactly what I just did. But there just happens to be three terms over here. So 2x has to go times 4x squared. 2x will also get multiplied by the negative 5x. And then 2x will get multiplied by 2. So that's how I can keep track. So 2x goes times each of those things. So you'll have 2x times 4x squared plus, because they're polynomials, 2x times negative 5x plus 2x times 2 plus. Now this one just gets longer because now I also have to do that with 3. So 3 gets multiplied by 4x squared plus, because it's a polynomial, 3 times negative 5x plus 3 again times 2. So now that means I've multiplied both of these terms in the front by everything in the second one. So that means I've done all my multiplications. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go through and simplify each of these terms. So 2x times 4x squared. 2 times 4 is 8. And then x times x squared, remember this is x to the first. When you multiply things that have exponents, you add the exponents. So that's going to be x to the third. So this is 8x to the third plus negative 2 times negative, or 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then x times x is x squared plus this last one in the green is 2x times 2, so that will be 4x. Then I'll have plus. Now I need to do the first purple one. So I have 3 times 4x squared. That's going to be 12x squared plus 3 times negative 5x. That's negative 15x plus 3 times 2 is 6. Now I do just like the last one. There's just more terms here. I'm looking for like terms. So I have 8x cubed. There are no other x cubed terms. So I'm just going to write down 8x cubed plus, because again, it's a polynomial. I have a negative 10x squared here, and I have a 12x squared there. Those are the only two x squared terms. So I'm going to add them together. Negative 10 plus 12 is going to be 2x squared plus, now I'm going to add together my x terms. So these are the two that are alike. They're the only two that have just an x. So I have 4x plus negative 15x. That's going to be negative 11x. And then I have only thing left is plus 6, and it doesn't have anything alike. So that would be your final answer. So multiplication, again, just practice, and the next video will be, the last video will be on division.